Hi and welcome to Haven Writers Guild. Today we're talking to Rosanne Hawke, the author of over 25 books for young adults and children. Rosanne has just released the third book of the Beyond Borders series, Finding Kira. This is an amazing book and we're so excited to be talking to Rosanne today about it. For more information about Rosanne, go to rosannehawke.com. And stay tuned, because over the next few weeks we'll be posting up recommendations from Rosanne about books that have inspired and influenced her, and we'll also have her reading an excerpt of Finding Kira, which will be amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you soon. So welcome, Rosanne. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's just lovely.
Right, so tell us about
something
Finding
very
Kira.
Very exciting happened today.
Yes.
I went to the post office and this advanced copy of Finding Kira has arrived. This is the new book that is coming out in May, and will be in bookstores shortly, very shortly. Wow. I should imagine. So
so this is the third book, kind of the Beyond Borders series.
Yes.
So we've got Dear Pakistan.
Yes.
Was number one.
Yes.
Where Jamie, an Australian girl who has grown up in Pakistan, comes back to Australia and has to deal with that.
Yes, deal with that culture shock.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then In the War Within, number two.
Yes. She goes back, so it's good for kids like Jamie, who's third culture kids, to go back for closure. My daughter did. So she was 18 when she went back. And anyway, I got all the ideas from my family for this couple. Yeah. And then Liana's Dance.
So
that's a companion book.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the War Within, I won't say what happened, but at the end of this, something happens that readers sometimes will write and say, what happened to Liana, or how, whatever, and why did you do that? so now you've got a bit of an idea. So that is Jamie actually, I believe it's Jamie writing the story that Liana had told her about when she was younger.
Okay.
But it stands alone, so it doesn't have to be anything to do with this. But it does have Jamie in it, who's in these other three books. Okay. No, it does. Yeah, only she has a cameo.
Oh, okay.
You have to watch for it.
All right.
When she's younger. Yeah. So for me, I like to think of characters as always having a life, unless you kill them. So then I like to think, okay, if a story's going to happen in the same sort of setting, that other character from these books will be there, but younger.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, but not part of the story.
Yeah.
So much, but, And then the new one,
Finding Kira.
Oh, yes. This is Jamie.
So Jamie's back in Australia.
She's back in Australia. She's still reeling from what happened at the beginning of the year when she got kidnapped in Pakistan here, terrorists, and then with this one, she's gone up to the far north to try and see what this Australia is like that she was born in, but doesn't really feel yet. Yeah. And the perfect place to fall in love with Australia is up in the far north. Yeah. And she does, and maybe in a couple of different ways.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you feel like Jamie's actually kind of matured across the books?
Yes, because she's a mature girl anyway. Okay. Because third culture kids usually are. Third culture kids are kids who are living in a country that is not the birth country of their parents, and so her parents were born in Australia. She was too, very small, and then they went to Pakistan to work, and then so she grows up in Pakistan and has Pakistani friends. She goes to an international school and has friends from all over the world. Yeah, and then coming back to Australia is difficult for kids like that. They get culture shock coming back, but because they've had that lifestyle, they seem to be able to adjust a little bit quicker than perhaps other kids would because of their life pattern of, you know, living in different places. So embassy kids and army kids and missionary kids, aid worker kids, all these people, kids, or father's got a job, you know, on a contract on a ship or something. You know, these kids will grow up, come back, have culture shock. It's like they go away as a round peg and they come back square. Yeah. And they can't fit back into that shape anymore. Yeah. And so this happens to Jamie in the first book. She's dealing with all of that and got all the ideas of how we all felt when we came back from Pakistan. And then of course they always say that it's good for them to go back to visit, which she does that year later in that the war within, and she's back again now in finding Kira, dealing. She's 6 months have gone by, so she's gone through the roughest part of what happened. Yeah. And so now she's finding now that she wants to help in the family where she goes secrets, family secrets have never been, no one's talking about them. The one big one.
Yeah. That sounds exciting. I can't wait to read it. Now, you actually lived in the semi-outback of central Queensland, didn't you?
I did. Growing up. Well, I grew up there. So even though I was born in Penola, when I was 6, my dad was a sheep farmer there. When I was 6, then we went up to Queensland. A new land was being opened up. Okay. And young men could have it free, but Dad paid £1 an acre. Oh, wow. And then he thought that'd be good for my older brother. And so he was a grazier, but we had mixed farming as well. But it hardly ever rained. So what I remember, I loved it because that was where I lived. Yeah. And loved it. I'd go as far as I could walk. It would be my father's property. Yeah. I wouldn't have to. They didn't like me riding horses much until I was about 13, but I used to ride at someone else's house. when I have a sleepover, I'd ride their horses, slip off the back. Bareback, we used to ride bareback with reins as kids, you know. It doesn't matter if you fall off, sort of bounce. But I didn't when I was older and fell off, but anyway. And so the drought, so I remember the drought. I remember that because of everyone bathing in the same bath water. No one was allowed to have a shower. And one year, Dad did make me a little pool. He cut off, occupational health and safety. He cut off, the iron tanks. Yeah. The corrugated iron tanks. Rusty steel and stuff. He cut it all off. The most probably wasn't all that big, just like that one out the back, I suppose. And then it was about, a foot high, and he filled it up with water, bore water, Yeah. And then he said, don't waste the water, he said. Just that would have been amazing. So I could just, couldn't drown in it. Yeah. If I dog paddled, I'd hit the bottom. But it was nice of him to do that. Yeah. In the middle of a drought. And I always got into trouble for reading while I was watering. My mother was English born, so it was amazing to think of her living in the middle of this place. My sister and I and brother, we went back some years ago, and we looked at it and thought, oh my goodness, our mother in this place, and how she managed. She managed by growing roses in the middle of the semi, And my brother was a gardener too, so he did everything for her, and I used to have to water them. It was boring, so I would water like this. And I wasn't allowed to put the hose down, but I had to turn the page. And so then I would forget sometimes, it'd be so exciting, especially the Prince and the Pauper. Yeah. And so he would come round and say, "Boy, the water's running down here. Dad says that anyway. Make Mum dig up the roses and all this." And, maybe I'd even get a slap, we get on very well now. But a lot of the stuff in the book is from my childhood. Yeah. So it's really my childhood in a way. And there's a big brother, and there's a little sister, and there's Jamie. Yeah. Trying to be over helpful. So
that sounds amazing. Do you feel like Jamie's story is rounding up in this book, or do you feel like she's got more? Am I allowed to ask if she's got more adventures?
I think she's got to the point where she feels comfortable in Australia.
Yeah.
And comfortable enough in herself now that if she did go back to Pakistan, she'd be able to choose whether to stay there or not.
Yeah.
Whereas when she first came to Australia, if she had gotten back to Pakistan straight away, she wouldn't want to come back.
Yeah.
So now she's got to that point, and and she says to Blake at one point in the book, "Oh, I want to be able to," or it might have been one of the others, but I want to be able to choose whether to go back and work there or not. I don't want to go there because I can't fit in Australia. I want to be able to fit in where I'm living.
Yeah.
And usually the third culture kids can do that. They do have to work at it, but they usually can do that. And so by the end of this book, she'll be able to do that until. But I thought to myself, although I'm not working on anything with her now, it would be really interesting writing a book where she does go back during uni, perhaps, and maybe she's doing an international studies course, and which is what a lot of MKs do, or third culture kids, so they can, because they're used to world travel, so they like to perhaps work in the world. Or maybe goes with an aid agency like apparently World Vision or something, and work on the ground, helping the when they save kids out of trafficking and stuff, and they set up daycare centres for them to learn things and learn skills and that. And I mean, she could be involved in something like that. And of course, her friend Jasper probably would be back there then too. My two granddaughters love these books. Well, they haven't read this Finding Kira yet, but they differ on who Jamie might end up with.
Oh, okay. It's a bit of a triangle.
One says it should be Blake. One says it should be Jasper, the boy that's in the World War Within, because one girl fell in love with him and the other girl likes Blake. And she won't for the first half of Finding Kira, but
oh wow,
it comes good.
Spoiler. So, are you working on anything now, or do you give yourself a little bit of time after you finish to just?
Yes, it's interesting that because I was watching a video of PH Court online, and how some of his work on creativity and stuff. So I've actually asked him to send me a little piece about that, and what he sent was very interesting. That you do need downtime from creativity, and I got caught out with that after Daughter of Nomads and Leopard Princess. This one, it was a huge project. It took ages. I mean, even for 10 years before that, I was working on it on and off, and then to get it done in time by contract dates and things like that and everything, and ending up 2 books and all this sort of thing. I had to get my son to help me because my brain was sluggish. It was very interesting. So I reckon that's what happened to me then, and then, but now I'm walking every day. And well, except Sundays. I don't like being free on Sundays, but I love the walking, and I do try to walk 6K a day, but that makes a difference. I've been doing that for over a year now. Yeah. And what I've found now, apart from the fact all the obvious signs that if you have a blood test, everything's lower than usual because of all the walking, and your bones are good, you don't need medicine and stuff. But it also, I can think of things better. Wow. And also it keeps you happy because exercise, of course, is going to release all those nice things that make you happy and thinking good things, and then of course your creativity is enhanced, I believe. Oh, walking. just walking.
Wow, that's amazing.
Don't have to go to the gym, nothing like that.
So you're just giving yourself some time now. Yeah.
So I'm doing something different. I'm compiling my study guides and lecture notes from teaching at Tabor, Adelaide, and trying to put it between 2 covers. Okay. And as a textbook, I think institutions like that. Yeah. Study guides, but let's have the book.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that. So, and at first there's always that thought, well, who am I to do something like that? Because there's lots of stuff out there.
Mm.
And then some students told me, no, we would like it to be a personal book. You know, like we would read something about another writer's journey, because you can read about punctuation or everything anywhere. Yeah. And okay, so what it is basically is what I've learned over the last 25 years in the industry, what I've picked up, and basically that's what my lectures were like. I didn't see myself so much as a lecturer as a person who facilitates the learning of writing. It's not that you're teaching writing, really. Students learn it, and you just facilitate that and offer things that are going to help them do that. So the book's going to be much the same, just saying what I know, but then I'll put things in the back where they can do more research and more. There may very well be a faith element to it too, because of my background. And that way it'll be different. There is nothing like that at all in Australia at the moment. So, but it'll be first and foremost like a writing book, not a proper textbook. So I've mucked around with the format. So some academic textbooks, they have all the proper ways, you know, when you write a PhD or MA, you know, all that sort of in-text stuff. So I've done away with all that. Just there'll be notes at the back. Yeah. And I've fiddled with APA, the referencing system, because it has a case-sensitive thing where the titles only have the capital on the first.
Yes. And that irritates me.
And a lot of examiners of my MA students have always thought that they were bad proofreaders.
Oh, no.
And I thought, I'm just going to fiddle with it. And I'll put a note to say that that's what I've done, so please don't do this. But I might even include a little part about writing about your own writing, because you don't see a lot of that around in layman's terms. In a way, I'm trying to make it like a book that anyone could pick up.
Are you finding because that's quite non-fiction, so are you finding that's very different to...
Yes. So what I was having a few obstacles. Things would come in, you know, the time poor thing, making me time poor and stuff like that. And then the agent did say something, or I must have said something to my agent about a story that I was working on, and she said, "Oh, do I have the proposal for that?" You know, and so I actually did. And I remembered how one of my supervisors at uni said how non-fiction and the fiction work together. Okay. And they work well together with your brain. You know, so the non-fiction, you know, you're working, you know, with facts and everything, and then, although mine's half memoir, I suppose. And then, well, that's facts.
That's facts.
And then, anyway, and then of course the fiction is a totally different thing. So once I started doing a little bit of fiction as well, as long as it didn't take over like it used to always, then I've given myself the 6 months to try and, you know, get the real good draft, get a draft done for some people to read it, and then that helped.
Well, I suppose when you're writing fiction, you're still referring to facts and research and checking information and everything. So that does interesting. One of the things I actually wanted to ask about is you've actually developed that skill of weaving together fantasy and magic with that harder element of reality in a lot of your books. One of my personal favourites is The Messenger Bird. I love The Messenger Bird. I do. I love it. But that's got the time slip factor, and there's that magical thing.
I wonder.
Yeah.
It's not quite magical.
Not really.
But it's not really a time slip either, I don't think.
Well, no, because they're not actually.
Because he hasn't died yet.
Yeah.
Well, what I mean is, a time slip. The first publisher I sent it to thought it was a time slip, and they said, get rid of all that grief stuff and turn it into a time slip. Readers will love it. But usually I will take up on a suggestion, but that one was just too far off what the book was about. The book actually isn't about him being able to come to the past so much as or is he really doing it or isn't he?
Yeah.
Is it really her state of mind or isn't it? And did it really happen or didn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't see it as a true time.
Yeah.
And I know he does get freaked out when he suddenly sees the big olive tree and realises that he's out of his time.
Yeah.
But and he knows he's out of his time, but the only way he can explain it is, God's allowed it for some reason, because he comes from 1886, so he thinks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Finding Kira, you were talking about how she's a storyteller.
Yes.
And that actually is a way of healing. Do you feel like using fantasy and that blend of fantasy and reality
and the storytelling
can heal?
I do. I do actually, because it's only through the stories she can get the little girl to open up to what's bothering her. And it's not at first that Jamie does that on purpose. She's 17 years old. She's not a psychologist or anything, but she does like telling stories because she's got a little sister, same age, similar age. So she tells Kira all these stories, and she picks stories she thinks that will be good for Kira, since she and her brother are not getting along, and and sometimes it backfires, and she thinks, that wasn't a good one, think of another one, and so and in the end it does. And at one point she tells the story of Scheherazade, who told stories for 3.5 years, 1001 Nights, the Arabian Nights, and how she told stories to stay alive. Yeah. But in the meantime, it was healing the king's heart and his mind, because he obviously was manic. He was so upset over his wife leaving him. He got crazy, so killing all those girls and everything. And so that way she saved the girls. He got healed and she stayed alive. The story's pretty powerful. Yeah. And people have loved stories ever since the beginning of time. And they're very important to us. And our own story is very powerful for helping us in our identity and everything, if we can. And sometimes that comes out in our writing. And then other people to hear a story can be quite healing for them, because either they relate to it or, and that's I suppose what we hope as writers sometimes, that readers will relate to characters and find some enrichment for their lives.
And a lot of the content in your stories can be quite confronting, like a lot of social justice issues and things like that. So do you think you've used fantasy to sort of not soften it, but to help people process?
I think the fantasy part, like in Daughter of Nomads or even Messenger Bird, I think, for example, when kids are perhaps not doing well, I remember when my son wasn't so well, he didn't read realistic fiction, he read fantasy, and there's no shame in this, what some people call, you're just escaping. There's no shame in that, because that's where you can go into another world and you can deal with things at a distance. Yeah. And the characters may be still going through stuff that people in a realistic novel would be going through, but it isn't quite so much in your face, and it's more subtle, I think. Yeah. But helpful still.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right, I'll just shift focus to... I was looking at your Goodreads author page, and you were talking about a story game you used to play with your children, and I was very fascinated. How did that come about? What was the game?
It started because they loved hearing stories, and started in Pakistan probably. It was hard to find enough things in English, or the school had books, but there weren't a lot of English bookshops. There were some, and there were second-hand ones that we could get stuff at. But I used to tell stories in the car, or if we were going on a walk, and my mother used to do it to my sister used to do it to me, and if Mum took me on a walk, she'd start telling me the story of Cinderella, or the wolf and the Red Riding Hood and stuff. So then I would tell that, and then I'd forget, my legs were tired, and she'd get me all the way to the next farm by having me talk, because Mum and Dad were very quiet. They thought I was lively. so, you know, oh yeah, she's a lively girl. Really, I was quiet. But anyway, but I did used to like telling stories. Dad used to say I was very good company. So and he was 50 when I was born, or almost. So he was like a granddad, and my brother was like my dad, sort of. Although I didn't like that. I keep saying, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not my dad. But the storytelling came, you know, when I was a teacher, I used it in the classroom. It settled the children always. I had little reception kids, and one year I had 37 of them. This was years ago when they brought in, you can come on the Monday as soon as you turn 5. At one point I said to the principal, you have to stop this. 37, you know. But anyway, the storytelling really helped. I had a guitar as well, so that helped us too. That helped too. But the I would say just not just getting them to do things, and not just settling them, but they enjoyed it. And while they're listening to stories, then I would hear them telling stories, and then they would want to. They couldn't write full sentences yet. Yeah. So I used to write what they wanted. So they would draw the picture, and I'd say, "What would you like me to write here, rather than what's this?" And they would go rattle off this whole thing. I'd get most of it down, you know, just so that they could, and then their parents would read it back to them and stuff like that, and you know. But and then when we were in Pakistan, started off just by I called it a story game, so they liked it. So they would have to say who was in the story and where it was going to be set and what sort of problem or event or something that was happening to the character. Yeah. And then I would have to fix it. Oh. But because it was a game, basically it was me telling them a story, because I think that's how it started. I sort of got a bit, what will I tell a story about this time? And then I'd say, well, you tell me, you know, what it's about. And then I would tell the story. And if I got off the track or something, they'd say, no, Mum, no, she wouldn't have worn that, Mum. Or, no, they don't talk like that now, or whatever. You know, when my daughter was 10, she would still. But they loved it, though. And a lot of the books that have come out have actually still come from things like that. Daughter of Nomads came from, was when my daughter asked for a story about a lost child. Yeah. Because I had met a girl with red hair in an orphanage, and we were with someone, and she went to the orphanage, and anyway I met her this day somehow, and she couldn't speak English, but she had fairish hair, fairish skin and red hair, but right up in the north of Pakistan you can get people groups like that. So, but she had such grace, and she was a beautiful girl, and she inspired me. I think when Lenore asked me for this story, we were trying to work out where this girl could have come from, because she didn't know who her parents were. No one knew who she was. You know, usually if parents die, someone else family takes them in. So it was odd for her not to have some sort of family. And the imagination went wild on that one. And so we got the idea about nomads, you know, and it sort of developed a lot later, but in the beginning we weren't really all that quite sure. Yeah. And we just kept telling this story on and on and on, you know.
That's brilliant.
So and then the Kelsey and the Quest of the Lost Doll, the Quest of the Porcelain Doll, sorry, that came about from stories I told Lenore, because I knew she was getting a porcelain doll. And I thought to myself, I'll tell her all these stories about this doll. I had seen it. Yeah. My mum it was in our luggage, which took us ages to get out of there, but I was hoping we'd get our luggage back by Christmas, but we did. But I'd seen the doll, so I said what she looked like, and I said, what should her name be? And so Lenore said, you know, a name. And then we told the stories about the doll. And when Christmas, I thought she's going to work out for sure that she's getting one. But I thought she must be just keeping quiet, so not to make me feel bad, because I keep telling these stories. And when Christmas came, she opened it up and she said, "Oh, it's Amy Jo! Oh. How did that happen? How did the story come true.
Oh, that's
And I thought, oh my goodness, because she was 10.
Wow.
So and that's a perfect twist ending for a story. But I didn't think, I wasn't writing then. I was too busy with kids and everything and teaching and all this sort of stuff. Is EFL and all that. Later on, when Lenore was a teacher herself, she said, "Mum, why don't you write up all those stories that you told me when I was 10?" She said, "Girls would love those, you know." And so she would keep me, even when she was an adult, she would still like to listen to stories.
Yeah.
And she would still keep me, what about that one about such and such? What about the nomadic princess? How are you going, Mum? You know, it's just the War Within came from a story that my daughter Lenore wanted. A friend of ours got kidnapped by freedom fighters.
Oh, wow.
Or Mujahideen, across the border in Afghanistan. We weren't far from the border. And she said, "Oh, tell me an adventure story about someone like me who gets kidnapped by a freedom fighter." And I said, "You wouldn't like that." And she said, "Yes. What if he's only 18 and he's gorgeous and all this sort of stuff?" And that's how that went. So I told her the story. She was 13. She was home from boarding school and she loved it so much. She said, "Mum, you've got to write it down. Wow. You want to do writing, you never do."
Aww.
So you write that for me. When I go back to boarding school, I'll be able to read it when you're not there. and of course I wrote it by hand and then she couldn't read it. And so she said, "Mum, can you type it now?"
Yeah.
And, you know, and then it went on.
Yeah.
"Mum, can you send it to a publisher?" And I thought, this is not going to happen, you know. It takes years, and it did take 4 years, I suppose. It went all over Australia, and I had perhaps the most public apprenticeship as a writer.
Really?
So when you think about how awfully it was written, you know, and how it was what now I would call a draft, and maybe not even a really good draft, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's been wonderful to be able to rewrite that.
So when did you rewrite it?
It would have been a couple of years ago now. I think that came out year before last.
Okay.
Or was it last year? 2016.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, what a joy.
Yeah. So you've recently been named the Premier's Reading Challenge Ambassador.
Premier's.
One of. Yes. How many are there?
Look, when you go on the website, there are lots of sports people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Port Adelaide also, the team. So probably they have a couple of guys who like to do that. Olympic medal winners. Yep. Writers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a storyteller on there too. Okay. So I went and what you do, you write out and do a profile and why reading is important to you, and
which you're quite passionate about.
Yes, very, very passionate about, and that's the thing I loved about teaching reception kids, because that moment when they suddenly realise that these squiggles tell them something, it's incredible. That look on their face. And I wouldn't have missed that for the world. It was just that was wonderful. And so I'm very passionate about reading. So if I go to a school as a Premier's Reading Challenge ambassador, I usually, and I've done it once so far, and because I've just been named as one. So I had I spoke at assemblies. So I spoke at the high school assembly, told them how reading helped me a lot in my high school years and stuff, and then spoke at the primary school assembly and told them different stories about when I was a kid and what I thought about reading and how I loved it and why and what it can do for you and how it's really great to do the challenge. Yeah. And you get medals. You don't have to be a sports person to get a medal. You can get a medal for reading. Wow. I think that's really wonderful. Yeah. In November, I get to give out the medals at St. Columbia. I have done that before, actually. Not when I wasn't even one. The local school said, "Oh, can you come over and give out the medals?" Yeah, very exciting. That is very exciting.
It's a great concept to encourage kids to read.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, I was also reading that you said you don't believe in writer's block. It's just part of the process.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Tell you something about that. I don't let myself believe in writer's block.
Yeah.
I can't say that for everyone in the world, because some people do dearly believe in it. And but if I believed in it, I'm too much afraid that it would give me the permission to not write. You know, or that's now put it this way. Often writer's block, something is called writer's block, but that isn't really writer's block. I don't think.
That's fair enough.
So when my mum died and I was writing a book about Alzheimer's and she had it, every time I would start writing a sentence, I would cry. I had a grant, so I needed to try and finish this draft, you know, but for 6 months I couldn't do it. So, but I didn't say I had writer's block, and I didn't worry about it too much because I called that grief.
Yeah.
You know, my son's not writing at the moment, and he's just had a little baby, third one, and he loves fatherhood, so he's up in the night, all the times when he would have been writing, he's feeding the baby.
Yeah.
So, and he's not worried about that either, because he knows that will pass, but he'll never get that couple of years back again with his little baby, you know. So other things that get called writer's block is procrastination. And we'll do a little bit of that. I sometimes even get the vacuum cleaner out of the cupboard sometimes. So it's really bad then. And then sometimes procrastination, or some people actually don't have the passion for writing. And you know, should I do it? Should I not? I should. And that's not writer's block. That's maybe I should be using some of my other gifts instead for now, you know. And but there are things that help me when I do get stuck. Not writer's block, just stuck. Just stuck.
Temporary.
Okay, not writer's block. Yeah. But so I will go back to my journal. And, you know, this is the one I did for The Truth About Peacock Blue. So if I get stuck and I think I can't, what on earth is going to happen next, you know? So I might have done mind maps and things. I might have done, you know, family trees, and normally, you know, I can do enough stuff to keep me going. But every now and then it doesn't, you know, it mightn't, something else. So that means I could come back here and look at my research again, or I research something new. I check some things on the internet and get more ideas of events that happen with this sort of thing. A girl in jail, so let's say. And then the other thing now I'm finding too is that the walking, the physical activity is really helping with stuff like that. And another thing is just looking, just reading, where your brain relaxes, to let your brain relax, you're reading. Looking at images will help me. Sometimes I'll just go, I use Pinterest as a visual journal for my books, and so I go back and just look at all the pictures I've put in there. I've even got one, I better not say that, because, but I even have boards for books that I haven't said that I'm writing yet.
Oh, okay.
So they're hidden.
Yeah.
But piles of pictures will go in there.
Yeah.
And then when I'm reading it, I look at them. Oh, that's given me an idea. He could do that. He could have a hawk like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the sort of horse they could have.
Yeah.
Proper war horses. You know.
Yeah.
And because something like Daughter of Nomads being fantasy when usually I wrote everything so realistically was tricky. What's tricky for me? Some people find fantasy very simple because that's what they say, because they're just making stuff up.
Yeah.
But it's not true.
No,
it's not ever simple. It's just no book writing is simple. So why should we think it is? Why should we suddenly think, oh, I've got the end of the chapter 3, it's not rolling. Oh, something must be wrong. Well, that's normal.
Yeah.
So that's another thing people think writer's block is the normal part of writing a book. And mine don't quite often roll until at least after 15,000 words, and sometimes, and my writing book rolls only every now and then. But as I heard, as one writer said, older writer, who used to teach writing years ago, Eleanor Nielsen, she said that when you're reading back over your full draft, you will never be able to tell which were the bits that you wrote when you were passionate and the bits that you wrote because you were forcing yourself to write that day so that you wouldn't get in a rut. You know, that type of thing. She didn't say it quite like that. That's my words, but I always remembered that and thought. And the other thing too is there's this old proverb, European one, I think, that if you've got a boat and sailing boat and then there's no wind, you know, you're not sailing. So get the oars out. You know, don't wait for the wind to come. It might be weeks. So that's a lot of my thoughts about writer's block. It's really part and parcel of being a writer, having difficult moments, and we can revel in them because we get better at writing through that. And some things that might get me stuck at one point might not in the next book. I might allow for it or something.
Have you ever been part of a writer's group? Do you think talking to other writers can help?
Yes. Years ago I used to run a writer's group in my house.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I got the idea that maybe I ought to be teaching. Okay. So I ended up teaching creative writing to teenagers. Not actual teaching, more like workshops for the gifted and talented program for kids that just get all their work done really quick in high school and would love to do something different. Friday, a lesson. They gave them a lesson. They could come out of the lessons. So they were kids that could come out of the lessons, and then the stuff they did with me was also counted towards their work, sort of thing. You know? And so it was great. Not the upper grades because they were a little too busy with year 11 and 12, but you know, 8, 9, 10s. Yeah, I used to get. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Sorry, I've just got a couple more questions to run past you. I suppose in terms of working with young people and writing for children, do you feel like it's different when you're writing for YA?
Oh, for children and YA.
Writing for children,
Yes, definitely. There's a difference. Good writing is the same, whatever you're doing. You know, you need to do your best. You always need to write beautiful words for children as well as adults, as well as young adults. But I would say what is different the most between all the age groups is the age of the protagonist, the content, the things that they're interested in, and maybe most of all, which lets some writers fall down, is the voice and the tone, you know, because if you write down to kids as an adult, so it's obvious that it's still adult writing, but you're not trying to write it down, that's not going to work. Yeah. So you have to capture that child's voice of that age, and you have to practice getting, let's say you're writing something with an 8-year-old protagonist, he or she will even think or speak differently from a 12-year-old one, even though they're still middle grade. Yeah. So there's differences even within those age groups. YA, if you don't get the voice right with YA, that's, you know, it makes it sound like it's you know, a teenage voice. It's not going to work. And of course the content is quite different in YA. There's 2 levels in YA now. One day we might have this middle school, who knows? Yeah. But the upper end of YA now is 15 to 18, where, you know, kids have sex. They're interested in, you know, going to prom parties or whatever and stuff, or you know, sometimes there are issues, you know, that are addressed in YA with a good story, you know. And then lower end YA, you know, there might be 13, 14-year-olds still dealing with, bullying or something, or that can still happen in upper grades too. But, and then the middle grade, the primary school books will be different again, different content, going on a holiday or learning to ride a bike, things like that.
Okay. All right. Well, final question.
Oh, final question.
If you could sit down for a cuppa with yourself at 30, what advice would you give her?
I think what year that was. I won't say. But when I was 30, I had 3 children who were 7, 5 and 3.
Wow.
7, 5 and 3. Okay, 3 children.
So you're quite busy.
I was busy. And deep down somewhere, I did want to be a writer. At the time, I was living in the United Arab Emirates on a hospital compound, and my husband had this wonderful job of teaching guys how to do plumbing, doing all the plumbing on a new hospital, and he was, that was quite a significant project. And a lot of the nurses and everyone that I came in contact with on that compound were all doing such wonderful things. They were visiting Arab women and families and getting to know them, learning Arabic really, really well, and because they weren't looking after anyone else. And not just that, they were clever ladies, don't make me wrong. but I remember at 30, I felt like I was a little bit useless. My mother always said that it was so important bringing up children, good to stay home with them, and I chose to do that. I was helping out at the local British school one day a week, but still I felt like, I should be doing more. I want to do more. Yeah. And so what? And I did get depressed. I was depressed during some of that period of time. And one of the doctors was very nice to me. And if it was me sitting by that bedside now, I think I would say some of what he said, but there was stuff that he didn't know that I know now. Yeah. So I would say now that bringing up children is the most important job in the world. You're shaping these people that are going to then go on and have families of their own and make a dent in the world, even though you don't feel like you are right now, but your children will. Yeah. And then also, because I was writing, but not with any purpose. I was trying to write something for my mother of a fictitious version of a holiday we had. Okay. And I still have that all written by hand. And I would be able to say, and keep on doing the writing, because that's important too. And one day, if you you have that goal, you'll reach that dream of becoming a writer, and it's possible. And I had no one to say that to me. Yeah. No, and that's why I like saying that to people. I really like that. That's what I like the best about facilitating lecturers, if you like. Yeah. Is seeing people come in with little self-confidence, but just knowing they want to do this, but how can they do it or whatever, and saying it's possible. Not everyone's going to get published, but you will write. It's still going to be important. Yeah. But that's what I would say. Wow. I didn't know that then.
Well, thank you so much for sitting with us and talking to us today.
Good.
And yes,
it's been
looking
fun.
forward. Yes, it has been fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's next.
Oh, good.
So thank you. Thank you so much to Rosanne for talking to us today and sharing part of your journey with us. And don't forget, to get your copy of Finding Kira, go to rosannehawke.com or visit Rhiza Press. And stay tuned for follow-up videos. Thanks for joining us.